with Angela Yee, and this is a blessing. We have Mick Jenkins in the building.
Much love. I'm blessed to be here. Thank
and
you.
The family's here. We love it.
Yes, always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I saw you guys were, you and your wife were in St. Lucia.
Yeah, that was where we took our honeymoon.
Oh, okay.
We got married in COVID, but it was COVID. So,
no honeymoon then.
Yeah. We got to have a bigger celebration last year with all our family and friends, and then we went to St. Lucia.
What was the actual wedding like during COVID?
9 people. It was COVID like, I think it made it more special for us. We went from, I think, like 150 people down to 9 people, just close family and friends. I actually ended up, me and my, shout out Samantha and DJ, we had it in their backyard. They have a really beautiful backyard with a lake, and they helped me build the awning that we walked under. It was really nice, really beautiful.
That's
really
nice.
Really intimate. So
I like that. That's a good time because, the COVID could make or break a relationship.
Or your pockets. We saved a lot of money doing it like that. So that worked out in the long run for sure. Yeah.
Well, listen, anniversaries, big things happening. So obviously we know the Waters, 10 years. How does it feel? People always talk about, still to this day, how that's a classic project that you had.
I'm honored. I'm honored that people feel like it's classic. I was having this conversation the other day. For me, it's not. The Waters is not a big a deal to me as it is to my fans. And I think simply I tell people I made that project when I was 21 years old. I'm 33. However much you love it is not how much I would love it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's something that I made when I was very much a kid. I had a different understanding about life and the things that I was talking about than I do now. But this 10-year anniversary is like, affirming how much it means to people. I think it's not a small thing to have a body of music or even any art that captures the attention of, a generation, a group of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at the comments on my Instagram when I posted the 10-year anniversary. People are like, man, this helped me through high school. Man, this helped me through grade school. Man, and it's like, that's when I get soft in my heart. Like, dang, this really touched that many people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's really, I think, a lot of the solo tracks on that album that people really gravitated to the most also. And that's not an easy thing. Usually people are like, who's on it? Who's the guest appearance?
Right. And I think that gives me value for myself. I think it's a lot of things in the hip-hop industry where you can second-guess yourself and you say, am I that good? But to really have so many people affirm what this project's done for them, how long they've been listening, where it then took them in their lives. Like I said, in my comments, to be able to read through that, man, this is really special for me. And again, for myself and a lot of my contemporaries, this is my value, right? I'm still here. I'm still here 10 years later. I'm still touching people's lives. I'm still affecting people's lives with this music. I'm still able to sell out shows with this music 10 years later. So I be feeling like, man, for all the lists I ain't get put on, for all the, 10 years in, it's not a light thing. So
you're right about that, because they do be putting out all these lists. I was telling B-Dot when he was here the other day, he loves a list. And so I saw like Complex put out the top 50 Atlanta rappers. Yeah. They could do that in Chicago too.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I think the idea of a hierarchy or a ranking makes sense. I'm a competitor. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, we know.
But when you get left off for whatever reasons, I mean, it's a lot of artists that can affect you in a major way.
Right.
And so a lot of conversations that I've had with like Saba and Smino and No Name and people like myself is like, man, look at what we're doing now. It's a lot of people on those lists who don't have 6, 7, 8 albums, who are not in it 10, 12, 13 years later. You understand what I'm saying? And so I think there's a lot of value in the fact that me and my fans are still having that conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and those are loyal, hardcore fans too, by the way, because, you have this residency here that's sold out, so people can't even get tickets.
Crazy.
At the Blue Note, celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the Waters, and that's a testament to knowing that no matter what, there's people that are going to come out to see and support. And I saw when Questlove was talking about quality music, and he definitely named you as somebody who he feels like is overlooked amongst others. And sometimes those people who don't get the accolades are the ones that are definitely, they can tend to be the most talented.
I appreciate that. The Questlove thing, that's the kind of stuff that I was going to say a metaphor, but that sent me around my house. You know what I'm saying? I'm jumping up and down like, Kendrick, Questlove, so you know my music. You know what I'm saying? I that's somebody that I grew up idolizing, and the entire Roots band, like that's inspiration for me. That informs my music today. So
yeah, because I feel like Black Thought don't get also the credit as a lyricist.
Example. That is a great example. Yeah, the Roots as a whole, Black Thought especially. But when I know this, right? When I know that, or even I just saw Black Thought, Common, somebody else, they was all freestyling together. That was on the internet somewhere else. And it's the camaraderie from the niggas who do get that.
Right.
Niggas who are on the list, you know what I'm saying? Those people who do have a certain respect. When they see you when it's all love, when Mo Def see me and say, oh, the Waters.
I mean, Yasin Bey, because he got mad. I called him Most Def.
Oh, my fault, legend. My fault, legend. When Yasin see me and say, what's up, Waters? I'm like, yeah, that's the validation I need. So.
And you know his legacy, you see his daughter has a huge song.
Going crazy.
And I love that. I was like, she got his whole face.
Yeah, I didn't see it at first. Then when I saw them, I was like, oh yeah, how could I not see that? So.
You know, and even just thinking about like somebody say David Banner, I remember him talking about his lyrics and then feeling like he had to dumb it down a little in order to get that mainstream audience. Was that something that you ever were like, you know what, I'm gonna put out, I'm just curious in your head?
No, that's valid. It's something that I talk about with a few of my friends all the time. I think, quite literally yesterday, we in the hotel room and making up silly songs. You know what I'm saying? My wife can attest. I'll make a song out of anything.
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm not.
The song is called Silly Song.
But what I'm saying is, we do that and then we'll stop and say, "Yo, that could really be a hit."
It could be a hit. You never know.
And then it comes the question of like, would you do that?
Right.
Like, would I do that? And then, if the answer is yes, it becomes why. All right. And when the answer is because I know it'll be a hit, because I know it'll make me some money, because I know it'll go crazy over there, if that's my only reason, it's very hard for me to commit. I made a silly song. Shout out Super. I went to his house. He had a beat going that I could hear from outside. I come inside. He like, what you been doing, bro? What you got on going on? I'm listening to the beat. I'm like, I've been arguing with my wife, nigga, all damn day. We freestyled a whole song. It was fire. And he was like, you want to record it? I was like, no, I wouldn't put something like that out. You know what I'm saying? Like, good now. Yeah, we good now. I wouldn't put something like that out. But we sit there and then have a conversation about, bro, that would really rock. What if you
wrote it for somebody else?
What if you changed this word? And then that comes into play.
Then you get a reference track, and let me get this to somebody who this would be right for.
That becomes a viable option for sure. But for me, my point was, I think there's just a certain integrity in me that even sometimes I get frustrated about. Like, nigga, you know you could go crazy with that. But that's just not what I do. Yeah, that's just not what I do. So if what I do goes mainstream, that'd be great.
But and you know what though, I feel like there's also songs that I really like, and it may not have a lot of depth to it, but it could be for a moment too.
Same. Yeah.
For what I'm doing, getting
and so that's what I'm saying. I imagine that if I took a lot of my energy that I do to make these highly conceptual records and was like, let me just do this. No doubt.
But then your real fans might be disappointed.
No,
that's the other thing,
I would be disappointed.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. And so, look, that brings us to, let's fast forward 9 years after that, The Patience. You put that out. So, The Patience, talk to me even about that title, because there's a lot of patience that comes into play when it's like, okay.
The Patience, the title came from where I was at in my career. With the Patience album, I felt like I was finally in control.
Okay.
I went out and got the deal that I wanted on the terms that I wanted. And really, I basically set the terms and was like, whoever's going to accept that is where I'm signing.
Ooh, that's a good feeling.
Yeah. And so at that point, even before that, I had got out of what I thought was a terrible deal, with a terrible situation. I learned a lot. And I had this newfound perspective. So now I approached going out and getting a new deal this way. I got that. And then they went above and beyond. BMG went above and beyond what I asked and needed. So when it came time for me to come down to the title, I was just like, what is this? What is this music? What is this body of work? And it's like, man, this is the moment I've been waiting for. This is the space I've been waiting for. I think a lot of people would be surprised to hear, 10 years in, 5 projects in, and The Patience is the first time I got to do what I wanted to do.
And you said all of that on MOP. I listened to the outro.
Yeah, much love.
For that song where you really just talked. And so even that part, was that something, I have to assume that you just were talking and it made it.
You're correct. Yeah. A lot of that's how I create, the ethos of the song. I mean, it's something that I've been thinking about. I tell people all the time, just because the song came out today doesn't mean I wasn't thinking about it for the last 3 months. And so while I'm recording that, I just go straight into talking at the end of the song.
You're like, look, this is the first time. Yeah. And so discuss like how you were feeling, and just for people who maybe they didn't catch it or what you were saying on that.
I just feel like right now, even for my fans who don't have a clear understanding, right now for me is the best place I've ever been in my life and the best place I've been for my career. I'm in full control over what I do. I'm in full control over how my music sounds. I'm in full control of understanding how my business should work. A lot of times as a new artist, you get told, hey, you should do this way, you should do this way. And you do, because you don't know any better. And when you do know better, you realize like, well, that's a way. It's not the best way. You feel me? Like, so now I have an understanding of how to run my business from my standards that feels like the best way. And so Mop is me saying, man, I'm now ready to clean this thing up. You know what I'm saying? I'm now ready to get out there and show y'all the work I've been doing, show y'all the things that I've learned, and show y'all that I know how to attack this industry and delivering my music to my fans. And a lot of that just takes time. A lot of that takes trial and error.
Right.
A lot of that takes patience, waiting on the person who's going to put the bug in Angela Yee's ear to actually invite me to the interview, right? I think a lot of times when I talk about patience, I'm like, you hit a point where there's work that needs to be done that you can't do.
I was feeling like maybe there was this mystique about you, and you were like, I'm not doing much, you know.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. I even said to her, I was like, I think they've been trying to do this for a few months.
Yeah.
But we was on tour the first time. Yeah, like, but even to that point, right? It's sometimes you're waiting on this person to hear you that is going to move your thing forward. Sometimes you're waiting on this person to say your name in this room that you're not in. And no matter what you do, your actions won't be the thing that moves you forward at this point in your journey, you know? And so that's something that I was spotlighting on that as well. And that's what the idea of patience is for. I was doing everything I could for a good 8-9 years. You know, but there was something that had to happen in that 9th year that I couldn't control.
And you know, it was said, you talked about the deal that you were in that you really wanted to get out of. Yeah. And you also you didn't want to put out certain music while you're locked into a deal that you don't want to be in. Yeah. How hard is that being an artist and knowing that, like, okay, I'm not going above and beyond and going up to the potential that I know I have and that my fans, because people still love the music and it still was great, but it wasn't what you wanted to do necessarily, because you're like, I'm not giving them this.
It's a crazy position to be in. And I whenever I tell people about it, I'm like, apply it to whatever you do. It's not an art thing. It's a comfortability thing. Like, if you're not happy, whatever you do, you're probably not going to perform your best. If you're not at peace, you're probably not going to perform your best. And as artists, people love to be like, oh, a tortured soul makes great art. And they do, because they need to express that too. But man, y'all don't know how much a happy soul makes great music.
Mary J. Blige is happy.
Right, yeah.
Can I just be happy for my music, please?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what that is. It was like, all right, I'm in this terrible situation. And while I've served the points of my deal, I can't really drop anything new without it going back to what I haven't recouped, right? So at no point when I'm understanding in people who don't have my best interest. I'm in business with people who don't have my best interest in heart. I'm in business with people who don't necessarily care about my work and about me the way I do. Okay, understood. What do I have left to do for them? 1, 2, 3, I got to do these 3 things. Okay, I'm going to do these 3 things. If I do anything else that is like this grand express, oh, it's so amazing, this is just, y'all are taking a piece of that.
Right.
And I don't mind y'all taking a piece of that if we are working in good faith as business partners. But when we not, I'm not going to do anything extra for you. Why would I?
Right. And is that something is hard because do you want people to know that as they're listening to the music, or is it something that you're like, let me just get through this?
I want people to know, but at the same time, I don't want to be a nigga that's screaming, look what they doing to me, y'all. Right. That's why y'all not getting what y'all want, because look what they doing. Because even when you do that, it's not received.
Yeah, they don't care.
I ain't never listened to any artist tell me that.
Right.
I never investigated. Like, I just moved on to what else I wanted to listen to. So it's just like, you don't want to be that either. Right. You put your head down and you just try to get through it. You know what I'm saying? Which, to your question, it sucks. Because while you putting your head down trying to get through it, people are assuming why the music ain't come out in a year and a half, why this project sounds this way, why he only did this or that or this or that. And I'm sure, as a fan, I take part in the same thing when I'm wondering why Kendrick ain't dropped for 5 years. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, let me tell you something. You going on Twitter and weighing in on things.
Oh, they hated that.
It's a whole different reaction.
Oh, they hated that.
You.
Yeah.
Other people could say the same thing you say, but let Mick Jenkins come on here and talk about, oh man, why did J. Cole drop out of the battle?
Don't even get me on that. That's something that, again, it's not just some art thing. It's not an art thing. It's not a music thing. People who do the thing, have the most leeway to speak about the thing.
Yeah, right.
If you play sports, you probably could speak to that more than I could because I just watch. You work in radio. I could speak about radio all day. You be here.
Right.
You know the background.
I know what's really going on.
I can only talk about what I see. You know what I'm saying? So as a rapper, it'd be crazy when people feel like, I saw a lot of people, not just me, oh, y'all just want clout. Y'all just want clout. It's like, bro, this is some historic shit happening.
Yeah, it is.
Of course I want to talk about, you know what I'm saying? Like, this don't happen every year.
As things played out, people were like, J. Cole was smart for dropping out of the battle because clearly somebody told him something or for whatever reason, and we don't know what those...
I personally feel he was very smart. I just didn't.
In retrospect. Because I think at the time it was like, no.
I didn't have a problem with him dropping out. I just didn't understand the apology.
Right.
That was it for me. I was like, I don't think he did anything where he needed to apologize.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't that serious.
Yeah, that was it for me. I would get out the way too.
Yeah.
I understand dropping out. Yeah. I just didn't get the apology. But, to each his own. Right.
And, as you coming up in Chicago, right? And musically, Chicago is kind of like where we know Mick Jenkins from. What do you think about, say, Kanye and everything with his legacy and everything that's been going on with him? Because I know in Chicago, they go hard for some Kanye West. But there's a lot of things surrounding him now. We see him pulling up to Trump rallies. We see comments that he's made, but it doesn't take away from people are like, he's one of my favorite artists.
For me, Kanye has been one of my favorite artists for a long time. But previous to a lot of the antics that people have in question, I wasn't rocking with Kanye. People are always surprised to find out, but My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was probably the last time that I was rocking with Kanye.
Okay.
For me, because 80% of the way that I digest music is creation. So that last 20% of listening to music for like refuge, it's gotta be things that I wanna hear, things that I wanna digest. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was the last time that I wanted to digest Kanye's music. That was an amazing album.
Okay.
The content is not something that I need when I go to refuge for my music. You know what I'm saying? It's not. So for me, I stopped being as much of a fan as I was of Kanye around that time. And then the things that would happen in the following years weren't so surprising to me.
Right.
Because I truly feel like if you look back through Kanye's lyrics, a lot of who he is as a person, arrogant, not really open to a lot of other people's opinions. Very like these are the ways that he's been for a very long time.
Right.
These are the ways that he said he was going to be for a very long time. He told y'all 8 years ago you can't tell him nothing. Y'all thought that was just a hot chorus.
The whole song.
He was dead serious. You know what I'm saying? So for me, a lot of this isn't as surprising as it is for a lot of other people. It's very confusing. It's very confusing. But I stopped being as much of a fan quite a long time ago, and I give everybody their space to go through their thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about Right.
And now you don't live in Chicago anymore, right? You live in LA.
Right now, yeah.
So how is that for you?
The move to LA was for work. It's been great. I've been there for 3 years. I just was talking to somebody outside. I've been to LA, been in New York, Chicago, a lot of different creative hubs for working. I don't link up with more people anywhere than in LA. To actually get work done.
I can see that.
I was telling them, I was like, I love New York. I get a lot of work done in New York. But more than LA, I have a lot of conversations about work that don't end up with us working. You know what I'm saying? I have way more conversations about the work we want to get done, and we actually get it done out there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, everything closes earlier, too. It's like nothing to do but go to the studio at night.
So after 3 years, though, I feel like, again, some of the lessons that I learned, some of the things that I learned being with this new label, understanding how the music industry is rapidly changing, I'm about to go back home. I'm about to go, everything that I'm about to do for these next 10 years in my career, it needs to be done in Chicago.
Okay.
If I do it in LA, I'm just another nigga doing it in LA. If I do it in Chicago, I'm building something that the city needs.
And the DNC is there, the Democratic National Convention this week.
I've heard. I've heard.
So when we delve into things like that and you see everything that's going on in the world and things that are happening in Chicago, because they're using that now as like everything that's wrong, they'll be like, oh, you can see now going to the DNC. And, and for me as a person that I've been to Chicago a lot, I love Chicago.
Same.
Obviously, but I literally was there the day that I left the Breakfast Club. I went to Chicago straight from the show and stayed out and went to clubs until 4 a.m. And
so you came to Chicago to get your mind right.
Yeah, I went there and celebrated. Shout out to all my peoples in Chicago. But I'm just wondering what you think when it comes to Kamala Harris running for president. People have a lot of things to say about that. The fact that Donald Trump is running, even though he's a convicted felon now and he's said a lot of negative things, but it feels like he's still getting support from a lot of rappers and a lot of artists. So I want to know your take on everything that's happening right now with politics, what you think when you're looking at the news and seeing things, and where you get your information from.
I'll start with Trump. I think rappers supporting Trump is weird. I just assume it's about money most of the time. I really don't know. I assume either they have some information, like a Kanye. You must have some information that lets you know that this guy is going to do better for your money than the other person. That's what I assume it must be, but I have no idea.
Right.
Super weird. I think just like Kanye, nothing that America does really surprises me anymore. I think we've had more than enough examples that the people in office, no matter what side they're on, don't really care about the everyday American. We have examples from the history of how these people vote in office to know where their platforms stand. We have Kamala Harris's history.
Right.
We know what side of the line she's been on throughout her career. You know what I'm saying? As a police officer, she wasn't just a police officer. She was a
DA,
she was a DA. Yeah. So I feel like, I don't have to say how I feel. There's just a lot of evidence that huge parts of this are dishonest.
It's politics.
It's politics.
I don't think anybody looks at politics as honesty.
Yeah,
Those two don't
which
go
is
hand
which
in
is
hand.
crazy though. Because these are the officials that are like running the country.
And I feel
if the idea is that dishonesty is ingrained into it, what does it matter what I think? What does it matter what you think? You know what I'm saying?
Like, some people who get into politics thinking they could change things and then realize how hard that is.
But you can't.
Because it's like a whole system of like, okay, you do this, and it's a lot of like bartering. If I do this, but you do this, and then it turns into something that is not just about what's best for people.
My opinion is that the system as it was created is flawless. And it's doing all the things it is supposed to do. That's my opinion.
Chaos.
Yeah. I watched the dismantling of Twitter. And everybody was so confused about what he was doing. I was just like, I'm not. Do you remember how useful Twitter was when Ferguson was going on?
Right.
Do you remember that they were lying to us on TV? And you were finding that they were lying to us on TV because of the information you were getting on Twitter? That cannot happen anymore. It can't happen anymore. It would be ridiculously unreliable information coming from Twitter now.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
There's no blue check marks. You can pay for them.
Elon Musk did a whole sit down with
There was
Trump.
news publications that had to be verified. You're worried about personal verification. News publications had to be verified. The people that you were getting honest information from had to be verified. And then there was a problem if you were just on Twitter lying. That's not a real thing anymore.
Not at all.
It's not an alternative place where we can go get instant information and it be the truth. So that's what I see when I see Twitter get dismantled like that. It's like, well, for all the fun we were having, that doesn't matter. This was a place where real information was traveling very fast, and it cannot do that effectively anymore.
Right.
And so when you ask me a question like that, it's like, where do you want me to start? What do I think? I think it's BS. I think it's easy to see it's BS. And I think the politician's job is to make us feel like it's not. And I don't think people want to hear that from me.
Yeah. It's tough because, what I've had to realize is that I do have to be as involved as I possibly can to make things happen and to understand how the system works so you can, because what I love is people who change policy and people who actually go in there with a plan and then they can go and
Shout out my boy Stevie Valles in Chicago, doing a lot to change policy. He focuses on prison inmates who have gotten out and are being blocked from their ability to vote, or prison inmates who are still in jail or prison and they have not been convicted yet, so that they still have the opportunity to vote, even though a conviction hasn't been passed on them. That's the homie. That's one of my good friends. And you're right. Being as involved as possible, knowing about people like that and organizations like that so we can actually affect legislation is the only way.
Because change is slow when it comes to politics, but it does happen. We've seen a lot of different things go through. Even we talk about like student loan reform, and people thought that would never happen.
I was one of those people.
Right, but a lot of people did get their loans forgiven, and they're working on it, but it's unfortunately keeps on getting blocked. So many different things that go on. And you know what I want to ask you, since you talked about money and how that can affect how people maybe decide who they want to be in office. What's your relationship when it comes to money? Because you have a song like Guapanese, right? Where you talk about vices and people chasing after money on the patients. Yeah. So what is your personal relationship when it comes to money, finances, what you spend your money on? I know you like nice things, but it feels like, you are also aware of what it is not to want to compromise your art for money.
Yeah, first and foremost for me is making sure a constant evaluation of myself that I don't love money, that I'm not putting money above anything really in my life. Like I think we hear a lot of people talk about how much they love money, and for anybody that's confused, if I love God. I'm a Christian. I believe in the Bible. The love of money is the root of all evil. Money itself isn't the root of all evil. I see people confuse this all the time.
For the love of money.
The love of money is the root of all evil. And I just see people talking about how much they love money all the time, and it's kind of crazy to me. So that's where I start, is evaluating myself in that way. But my general perspective about money is access. I don't praise money. I don't hold money too high. It's access. 90% of things you want in this world, you can get it with some money.
Right.
Period. So you should have a healthy respect for that. That's how I feel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do this Wednesday, so I always think about the way that I was raised, like not having a lot of money when I was younger, and really living like not even check to check, to get into a point where I'm like, okay, now I was able to buy a house and then invest in different things, but I still never feel comfortable. Like you always feel like at some point it could be all gone. I always think that.
I think for myself, I try to make sure that I pay 10% to tithes. I try to make sure that I got 3 months, 4 months saved up. You know what I'm saying? And then from that point, from my money guy, that's your defense. That's what he says. Like you got to have 3 months set up. You want your life insurance. You want your defense. And then on an offensive tip, like how I spend my money, as long as everything is taken care of, I try to be generous. I try to make sure that we're having a fun life. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, as far as money goes, that's probably as much as I think about it. We want to buy a house. All right, let's make a plan and let's stick to the plan. Cool. We want to prepare for having kids. All right, let's make a plan and stick to the plan. Cool. That becomes bills. That becomes responsibility. Once my responsibilities are taken care of, whatever I got, whatever extra, we just trying to have a good life. We just trying to have fun. I don't ever work too hard for the money or oh yeah, let's get that last. I'll turn down shows. I'll turn down things that I don't want to do. And money is never the only reason why I'm going to go do something. And so I think that's the best way I can answer your question, because even with this part, it's just like outside of planning, and I don't really think about money too much. I got to be trying to do something. You know what I'm saying? Before I came to New York, I was like, all right, we got to pay for sessions, for practice. Wifey going to want to do a little shopping. You know what I'm saying? We got to eat. I got to pay for everybody Ubers. I probably need this much. Outside of that, I ain't really thinking. You know what I'm saying? That's the way that I think about money, but I don't really think about it too much other than that.
Why was marriage so important for you?
Why was marriage important for me?
Because some people will tell you that they don't think that marriage, we could be together. Some people will be together 20 years and then end up getting married. Why did you say, okay, now?
First, I was raised that way. The idea of marriage was always an end goal for me. Beyond that, I think I'm a person that needs somebody. I've told my wife that a lot. I was like, I don't think I would have in life. I think I just needed a partner from a young age, from high school age, from the age that I started dating. I feel like I was always, it wasn't very too long being single before I was in another relationship, because I feel like I need somebody, a partner to work with. We've been together for 10 years? Yeah, 10 years. We've been married for 4 this year. My first time talking to her was when I first got signed. And I'm skating around New York. She's in New Orleans, just talking to her on the phone every night. That ended up being 3. She was still in school, so we were on the phone for 3 months, and just loving being on the phone, 5-6 hours at a time. So for me, very early, I knew, oh yeah, this is the type of person I could be with forever.
That's the best. Those beginnings.
Yeah.
Like Prince would say, we were talking till the sun came up.
Exactly.
You just be on the phone all night long, fall asleep on the phone.
And 3 years in, 4 years in? what was it when I proposed to you? 4 years, yeah. We had been through a lot, and in a sense of trying to bettering myself and trying to do better by her, I purposed in my mind at the time, was like, all right, what are you doing? Do you want to be with this woman? Do you want to be with her forever? What are you doing that shows her that, and what are you going to do that you're not doing to make that a reality? So that was shortly before I proposed to her, and for me, it was just evaluation. We've been together this long. You're trying to do this. What is the end goal here? You know what I'm saying? Like, and once I figured that out, then it was, all right, make sure that she on the same page with me. And if she on the same page with me, which she was, it was like, all right, well, then what we doing? Like, let's do it. I knew long before I proposed to her that was the person that I wanted to be with forever. I knew long before I proposed to her that was going to be my partner. So it was just time.
It seems like you hold yourself accountable just from everything that we're talking about, that there's periods of times when you're like, okay, what do I need to do?
There's people, including my wife, who would say I don't all the time.
You know what guys always say, I'm a work in progress.
Yeah, I try to.
That's all guys say.
Yeah.
Now, so you're also going back to South Africa.
I love it. Yeah. Shout out South Africa. They are my most voracious fans. They be in my comments. They be on my YouTube. Every social media guy, they be on there. And I always know, because I get up early and the time difference, there's an influx of South African comments and social media engagement at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. So they be active. They are literally top 3. They go from 1, 2, and 3 all the time when we look of fans downloading, buying, purchasing, whatever. So I love going out to South Africa. The first time we went out there, we did a show, and then we were able to do a show twice the size just off word of mouth 2 days later.
That's huge.
They love me out there. So I love y'all right back.
And I love it there too.
Yeah, that's the camera right there. Oh, yeah, I love y'all too.
Was it life-changing for you the first time that you went to South Africa? The first time I went, I was with a bunch of my friends came. They were like, we're going to come too, since I got booked to do something. And literally started crying as soon as we landed.
Not that deep, but no, but there were moments where you just kind of sit back and be like, wow, like I am in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even I got some homies in Ghana and Nigeria that was like, nah, not the real Africa. Shout out David O.
Like,
you didn't go to the real Africa. I'm like, I went. That's where I was though. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, man, just seeing all them black people being in a black country that is a black country. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm sorry, continent. But the idea of home, motherland, all of those things kind of start, as an American, start hitting you while you're surrounded by all of this culture. I think about that a lot. Most of the times when I'm overseas, though, I have those kind of thoughts. You should be aware of how the world views America, good and bad. And so those are things that are usually on my mind when I'm out the country. So I was feeling a myriad of ways in South Africa.
Nice. That's so dope. I've been there once and I'm dying to go back. That's a long flight. It's a commitment.
Yeah. I'm used to traveling though, so.
Yeah, I have to be here, you know what I mean? But I want to talk about this too. Now, let me see if Mick Jenkins was being messy when you put a song by Freddie Gibbs, featuring Freddie Gibbs, and then Benny the Butcher right after.
Yeah.
Now, is that something you even realized when you did it? You're like,
I realized it when I did it.
Okay, so you did it on purpose.
I didn't know they were both going to give me my verse.
Oh, okay.
That was the issue. I had been chasing Freddie for like a year and a half.
Right.
Seen Freddie out multiple times. He from Gary, so, basically a Chicago nigga. All love. But every time I hit him to do the record, no response, which is typical in the industry.
Okay.
Niggas will dap you up, chop it up, smoke with you, but when you want to work, you ain't getting no response.
Patience.
So, exactly. So, all right, cool. Freddie not hitting me back. My label loves Benny. The label want to get Benny. I'm like, all right, go ahead, get Benny. Almost the same day we get Benny, 2 a.m. that morning, Freddie sent me the verse just out the blue. No heads up, no nothing. I'm like, damn, this nigga sent the verse. All right, cool. So I'm like, damn, we really got a Freddie and a Benny verse. I'm finna put them back to back.
Back to back. That's what I'm talking
so
about.
I did that on purpose, but I just had no way of knowing I was gonna get both of them verses because Freddie wasn't hitting me back.
Whose was better?
Freddie. Easy. You know what? And I'm gonna say it too, because this is how I felt. Holla at me. But I don't think Benny knew what was going on. I've done what I believe Benny did, which is pay for. I give you one of my, out of a 10, I give you one of my 7s.
Okay.
I give you one of my 6s. You know what I'm saying? Because it's still gonna be fire.
Right.
I don't think Benny knew that I was about to do what I was about to do on that joint. So
have a classic
I
album.
give him a pass because he ain't come with it for real. You know, Freddie verse was better. I still like the verse. Obviously, it was on the album, but he ain't come. That wasn't Benny's best.
If you didn't like a verse, would you not put it? Would you send it back? Would you not put it? What do you do when somebody sends you a verse and it's not up to par?
A couple different things come into play. How much did I pay for it? How much do I like the song? Do I feel like you hurt in the song, or do I feel like you help in the song? If you hurt in the song, I really don't care. I'll probably take you off.
Okay.
And if I know you, I'll probably take the song off. If I don't know you, I'm gonna take you off.
Okay. But if you pay for it, you can't be like, I need a different verse. This wasn't it.
I've never done that. And when people have done that to me, it never went well. So
I think that's a fair thing to say, like, this don't really fit. This song is there. Can we work on something else? I think that is a fair thing to do.
Okay.
So when somebody said that to you, when you said it didn't go well, does that mean you just didn't do it? Or
here's the thing. If you don't know me and you're paying for a feature, in my mind, you're paying for what I'm giving you.
Okay.
But if we in a studio working, if we have at least that level of camaraderie.
I hate that people don't do that enough anymore, too.
We could do whatever you want. We in here right now. You know what I'm saying? But when you, hey, I want one of these. Yeah, I'm ordering it. You feel me? Like, that's essentially what you're doing. I'm going to do this on my own time, and then I'm going to send it to you. Bro, especially when I'm not BSing niggas.
Right.
I'm rapping for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm gonna yes, you're not giving a verse that you already have.
Now, what I have done, shout out Grip, he from Atlanta, he sent it back like, bro, I'm rocking with the verse, but this is 12 bars. I bought a 16.
Oh, okay.
I was like, you know what? You're right. I ain't even try to short you.
Right.
That was just a good spot for me to stop. You know what I'm saying? But you're right. I'm going to do the other 4 bars. I'll do that. But nah, redoing the verse. Mm-mm.
All right. Well, being that it took Freddie Gibbs this long to send you his verse, who else are there other artists right now that you're like, okay, waiting for this verse to come in? Because I know you did a lot of songs for this project, and I know you have another project on the way.
Yeah.
Right, which we'll talk about in a second. Yeah. But are there some verses out there that you're waiting to get back?
No. Gia was the other person.
Okay.
But I got it. So
yeah, that's a good one.
Shout out to homie.
I know you were happy with that one.
Absolutely. I mean, you know what? For me, I've never really had big features on any of my projects.
I know. But these are all pretty big ones. Big Mence is on the album.
And that's what I feel good about. It's just like, man, when I did reach out, everybody showed love. Everybody was like, yeah, no problem,
Was it for a lack of you reaching out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it was absolutely. It's a lack of me reaching out. My competitiveness, the way I viewed the industry at the time, it was just like, no, I'm doing everything. I'm going to do it. And, the more I've gotten into collaborating and respecting the collaboration process for what it is, the more I've gotten into song creation and not just rapping. You know what I'm saying? Really well. I used to be like, oh, I rap amazing. That's all I got to do. The more I've gotten into the artistry of what I do, the more I do those things. But, there was, I would say the first 5 years, I wasn't even trying to work with nobody else.
Right.
Yeah.
It worked out for you, though.
I guess. Yeah. I was successful, so I can't complain. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so talk about these next 2 projects that are on the way.
Well, for me, I'm in a space of, like I said, I'm fully independent now.
Mm-hmm.
I've said that before simply because even though I was attached to a label or something, I was doing everything myself. Me and my team were doing everything ourselves. I am now in a position where I'm not even attached to anybody else. And so for me, this is the first time experiencing that. So I want to see what it's like to drop some music. I want to see what them residuals and what them royalties look like when I get 100%. You know what I'm saying? Right. So right now, I didn't even focus on the super conceptual album. I'm feel free, so I wanted to create like that. I've been locking in with different producers and just making different sounds. The first producer I locked in with, his name is Emil. He's from London. Man, this guy's amazing. He does everything. Him and his, instrumentalists, everything live. And so this shit feels good. It feels big. You feel it. And, there's some singing thing where you could feel it in your chest while somebody's singing. I feel like that's what the music is like. You know what I'm saying? You could really feel it in your chest. I love it. I'm rapping at a high level, and I got a lot to say. I think for me, this is like what do they call it when you're trying to get your doctorate? Your dissertation? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, dissertation.
Yeah, it's like a dissertation for me for like the last 10 years.
I saw you retweet somebody that said that you should do some dance.
Oh yeah, and that's another. That's like I said, I'm trying to hit different markets, different sounds, different genres. I'm on K Tronada. I'm on Disclosure's album. I definitely can make dance music. And so I'm doing that too as well. I'm trying to lock in with K-Tra, but I feel like I'm chasing him everywhere. Holla at me. But I know some guys, All Day Recess, I'm locking in with a few different producers that I know can cater to that sound. I'm trying to do that as well. My girl Ambi Lyrics, we got a whole project finished. Slime is my DJ. We got a lo-fi project finished.
My goodness. You said, look, you went off and running. You got out of that deal and said, I'm independent. Let's do everything I want to do.
And
it's
that's
probably
where I'm
been
at.
building up.
When you say, when you're in that situation and you don't like it, does it hurt you because you're not showing people what you're not doing? Well, now that I'm not, I'm like, now niggas don't get to see. This is what I look like when I'm operating at 100%. And so for me, it's not even a lot. For me, it's just me and Emil locked in for 2 weeks and we got like 9 songs done and we chose 5. You know what I'm saying? Me and Ambi locked in for a month. We got 10 songs. Me and Slime locked in for 2 separate weeks at a time. We got 15 songs and we gonna narrow those down. This is how I work. This is the space at which I can go. This is the pace at which I can go. The ideas are not running out. And even more than that, I'm focused on the world building of those ideas, right? So I'm not just about to drop a lot of music. I'm about to drop music with ideas and videos and world building and concepts and merch. And then 4 months later, we're going to give you another one.
Wow.
And then 5 months later, we're going to give you another one. Because this is the space that I wish I could move.
And doing everything you want to do.
Deals don't allow you to move like this. Labels don't allow you to move like this. Like, the construct of the industry don't really allow you to drop a project and then drop another one 4 months later. Youngboy dropped the project, dropped the album, I think last year, dropped the project the month later, and then I read a release from the label that second project would not be counted. Again, you know what I'm saying?
He was trying to get out of his situation.
You can't do stuff like that with it. And so it feels really freeing for me. It's really fun to be able to come at it like that for me right now.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you look happy. I see it all in your face when you're talking about it. So
I'm content. I'm content for sure.
That's a great thing. So I'm happy for you. And thank you so much for coming through and chopping it up with me, because this is something that I felt like, are we going to get Mick Jenkins up here? So I'm glad we did. And I appreciate that. I know you have sold out shows. I can't even say, buy your tickets because you can't.
Thank you, New York.
But I'm sure you're going to add some more, right? Because you got so much going on.
Before the end of the year, we should have a few more water shows for sure. Yeah, we got one in Minneapolis. We're working on one in Nashville. We're working on one in Chicago. LA keeps saying something, so we might do one there. Just keep looking out if you're trying to catch Mick Jenkins.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming through. Appreciate it. You got to do like a water collab or something like that.
You know what? The Waters 10-year anniversary, we had Blue Note tonight, and it's very crazy to me that I've been singing about water for 10 years and I can't, not even Dasani. You know what I'm saying? I don't even drink Dasani. I'm saying that's bottom of the barrel. I can't even get Dasani to come holler at me. You feel me? Like, nobody, you know what I'm saying? I can't even get a nameless water bottle to come holler at me. It's crazy, man. Drink more water.
Let's try to get this done, please. All right, please. Oh, my gosh. It's way up.